I just got this split D-pad set from Handheld Legend, and what it does is it gives you separate buttons for each direction, and it resolves an issue of ghost pressing. When you push down, sometimes you get a false reading on left or right. It really depends on the games. The game I was playing lately uses the D-pad a lot, but kind of as just a button jab while you're doing other tasks. So I was getting a lot of missed presses. The original Switch D-pad has kind of a convex shape to its curve, and I think my wood grain pattern, which is very flat, might have been making that worse. But even going back to this D-pad and doing the tape mod inside, I was still having issues. So I tried out this button set from Handheld Legend, and two things. One, it instantly solved the problem, but it felt mushy. If my thumb rocked towards the center, the buttons tilt inward a lot and feel really squishy, and I didn't like that. So I started looking for solutions. Let's look inside and I'll show you the things I tried. I skipped past disassembly because there's plenty of disassembly videos on the web. So the tape mod involves putting a piece of tape that covers roughly half of each contact point to reduce false presses. And it did reduce false presses, but it didn't eliminate them. I still have a piece of tape on there, and that's to help protect the circuit board from the new post I added, which actually isn't any more harmful than that post there. So the first thing I did was try 4.5 millimeter Airsoft BB. I just stuck it in there, pressed it into the membrane, and gave it a go. Let's check it out. And right away, very noticeable improvement. The buttons don't rock towards center as much. The feel doesn't feel as mush. You feel like there's something down there when you press on it. But 4.5 millimeters from the Airsoft pellet BB was not quite enough. I tried a 1/4 inch bearing. That was too big. So then I moved on to a piece of clear tubing cut to 5.5 millimeters tall. That seemed to be the magic height. With the clear piece of tubing in there, this I cut from a spray bottle. It's 4.5 millimeters outside diameter and 5.5 millimeters tall. I now had good support in the center, and if it did tilt, it only tilted outward, in the kind of intuitive direction. And I really like that. And now I'm starting to nitpick. So the next thing I was focusing on was the side-to-side wiggle, which is mostly noticed in the down button because of this curve. And so, proof of concept, I stacked a ring and tested that out, and that evolved into this cut piece of nylon here. And I'll show you how that goes in. And that's the final design right there. The only thing I would do different is cut it from black nylon so that it's not as noticeable. Let's check it out. So the height of this nylon actually gives a feature. When it goes into the membrane there, it gives it a springiness, so nothing's actually being crushed, and the support of the middle button is actually kind of springy, allowing the button still some motion all directions, but none of the spongy mush that it had without any center support at all. The original designs had center supports, and they were rocker-ish, but when you went to 4 buttons, I still wanted the rocker feel, and this delivers. I'll show you how it goes in there. So it's such a nice fit that you actually have to lift it up a little bit to get the buttons to spread into their places, and then it drops in there. and then the membrane will go right over the top of it, and it'll slip through that hole in the middle. There it is, with the hat-shaped pivot stuck inside it, and you can see the white in there is why I would make one out of black nylon next time. But moving it around, if you put your thumb in the middle, it has a rocker feel. And if you push on one and try and tilt it, it doesn't tilt. There's a little bit of springiness in it, but no false presses. It just really upgrades the feel. So, for those of you that want the most advanced method that gives the best feel, here's the diagram. A little hat-shaped bush to mimic that shape, but out of one solid piece. The width of the top hat or mushroom portion is 7 millimeters. It can be 6.8 to 7, that's fine. The height is 2.5, that's what's going to nest between all your buttons. And then the stem that goes through your membrane is 3.0. Combined, that's 5.5. Your total overall height can be 5.5 to 5.6 millimeters. The hole in the membrane is 4 to 4.2 millimeters. So aiming for 4 is fine. It does stretch, which is why using a 4.5 millimeter section of tubing works fine. This is the second easiest method. Measure, cut, make sure it's clean and straight. If you want the easiest DIY to go with this button set, then you can pick yourself up. It just rolled away. You can grab yourself an airsoft pellet. 4.5 millimeters, a common size, and it'll sit in there and it will greatly improve the feel. And you can only go up from there. So that's the mod, and we'll show some test results here on the screen. So here's our test. We got solid presses in each direction, rapid response. If I lean or rock in a direction on the down key, I don't get any mispresses. Interesting thing about this split set is it is possible to get a register on all 4 buttons at the same time. That was never part of the Switch design, but now that it's not a true rocker, you can. Adding my post in the middle makes it to where you really got to use the fleshy part of your finger to make it all happen, but it can happen. It's very hard to do unless you're doing it intentionally, and that's another thing I like about adding that rocker post in the middle. Thanks for watching.